How's it going, everybody? And welcome to the very beginning of this little journey we're about to take together. I've finally finished moving most of my stuff into the new place. Not all of it, but enough to where I can finally start working on setting up this beautiful bastard. We are at square one right now. Nothing has changed over there since the last time that you saw it. So we got to do the very important step of planning where all the machines and equipment are going to go, because that's going to dictate basically the whole flow of the shop. I've got to get a couple small little basic things knocked out, and I've got a delivery that's set to arrive in about 5 minutes. So let's get this thing going. I bought a 40-foot shipping container to dump beside the shop just to give myself a little bit more storage room to work with. I gotta say, man, with the way things are going in the world right now, those things are so expensive now, it's ridiculous. However, with the cost of building materials how they are right now, it would have actually cost me more money to build a shed half the size of that thing, and it would have just eaten up a bunch of time and more stress and whatever. So I'm gonna take that as a victory, I guess. Oh, it's in there like pretty much fucking dead straight. Nice work.
We tried, but it doesn't always work. I had a hell of a day today, I swear to God.
Well, if you're like being anal about stuff, you're in the right place. Dude, this thing is sick. It is so mint in here. The place that we bought it from said that this container only took like a couple of trips. It's otherwise pretty much brand new. And they were right, this thing is basically brand new. It's so nice in here. So my plan for this, since it's got doors on both ends, I'm gonna put a wall somewhere around here, probably around that gray line actually, and just put basically all the general house shit that would normally be in people's garages, like lawnmowers, weed whackers, all that type of stuff. Stuff that I just want out of sight. It's gross. Garages are for cool stuff, in my opinion. And then the way bigger side, this will be dedicated for the shop. So I'll probably put some inventory in here. I've got a ton of inventory of blank apparel, so that'll go in here. And then just parts and supplies and other stuff that really doesn't matter if it's out here in fluctuating temperatures. Because, you know, I want to keep the general clutter in the shop space down to a minimum. So this is going to come in handy. Dude, that guy got this thing like pretty much dead nut straight to the building. That is pretty impressive. And don't worry, as soon as springtime rolls around, I'm painting this sucker black too. Next task on the list. Something you may not know about me is before I decided to work for myself, I actually used to be a cable guy. So like cable, internet, home networking, I used to do all that kind of shit. And I think I did it for, I don't know, like 2 years, maybe 3. And I gotta tell you, some of the shit that I saw during that job was insane. Like one time an old lady flashed me her beeve, and it was very, very much on purpose.
It's nice.
And the real crazy thing is that is super low on the list of things that happened during that job. Some of the stories I have from it, they don't even sound real. Maybe I'll get into those one day. Those skills are gonna come in handy here because obviously I need internet in the shop. And while they were doing the directional drilling to get the water and the power here, I also had them push through some Cat 6A so that I can set up a 10 gigabit network between here and the house. Because I plan on building and installing a server here at some point, one for storage for all of my massive video files and all of our artwork files, client files, and so on. And so that I can connect every single computer between the shop and the house to that server, and I can edit video from any of them, work on big files from any of them without running into any sort of data bottlenecks, because 10 gig. We have internet. Moving on. Firstly, I kind of lied a little bit. Things have changed in here a bit. I started moving some of my shit in here from the old shop. So basically everything from the old shop that was going to make its way over here is in here now. So please bear with me while this space is kind of fucking painful to look at. Planning out this space properly now is pretty important, because even though I did move into a much bigger space, there's still not quite enough space for all the shit that I'm putting inside of here. I mean, there's enough, but we're talking just enough. Ideally, I would just like to plan out the space for the best possible workflow, because who wouldn't? But I don't exactly have that luxury. I gotta worry about Tetrising in all of this equipment first and foremost, and then worrying about the workflow after and making sure that it's not total garbage. I have a little bit of an idea in my head, so I'm gonna kind of walk around here and figure that out. We're gonna call this Shop Layout 1.0. So just to get it out of the way, we're gonna start off with this corner here. This we're gonna call the dead zone. This is where the water is gonna come in, obviously where the power's at, the furnace. There's also gonna be a big ass 3-phase converter put into here because because I need that, and a couple other mechanical things. Basically, all the stuff needed to run this place. So this area is already pretty much spoken for. Nothing really cool can happen here. Moving on to somewhere around the middle of the shop. I think somewhere right around here. This is where I think the dryer should go, and I'm gonna put it lengthwise running this way rather than this way. And that's because I'm going to be running 2 presses in here. So with presses being the size that they are, they take up a lot of room. I need to use up as much of the lengthwise space as possible with those. So with the dryer running this way, somewhere right around here, I think that'll help compact things in a little bit more. You like my sheets? You wouldn't believe how long it took me to blur that shit out in the last video. It was the worst. Over here in this corner, actually not this corner, I should say quarter, because it's going to take up this entire quarter of the shop. This is where the big dog is gonna live. This is where the auto press is going. Yes, that's right. We're getting an auto. No more messing around doing 500 or 1,000 piece orders on a freaking manual press. It's gonna be awesome. Anyways, autos are huge, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna take up all of this space right here. Over here, we've got the door. If you watched the last video, you already know I have plans for this thing, but for now, kind of have to live with this. I actually forgot to mention too that all of this planning that I'm doing right now is kind of temporary as well. This layout will be for probably the next 6 or 7 months. Like I said in the last video, some really big shit is going to start up here in the springtime. So when that happens, all of this is going to change. But until then, I'll be making the best use of the space that I can the way that it is. This corner over here, I think this is probably the best spot to place the washout booth. With this being a temporary setup, I'm not building a dark room in here. That would be super wasteful because it would have to get torn down, and I've got all LED lighting in this place anyways, so technically I don't really need one. Anyways, these shelves, plastic table, most of the shit over here, this is all garbage. This is gonna go. So I can pop the washout booth in the corner. I'm gonna put a slop sink beside it just for general cleaning of things. And then I'm going to put a metal rack beside that to put screens on, keep things a little bit more organized, and hopefully keep ink from making its way around the shop a little bit. And then come up with some kind of a plastic curtain system to go around all of that stuff, just to contain the back spray and the mist and all that typical stuff that happens when you're using a washout booth. Moving on along the wall, I'm gonna keep it screen related over here. So I'm gonna pop a table beside this stuff for coating screens, taping screens, anything else related with screens. Over here, I think the drying cabinet should go. Makes the most sense being beside the screen prep table. So we'll put that there, and also a light table on top of that. Beside that will be the brand new, super sick exposure unit. It's actually in one of those crates over there. I cannot wait to crack that thing open and use it. So good. And also prime spot for it being beside the drying cabinet. So actually this whole wall, the workflow is actually pretty good. It's solid. Moving on from that, we'll have a little bit of a gap, which is not much by any means. Like I said, this is Tetris right now. So we got a little bit of space there, and then the embroidery machine will go somewhere over here. And if there is that little bit of extra space, I can put some kind of a little prep table, workstation, whatever beside that, just to make things move along a little bit better there. Over here somewhere will be the film printer, which is also brand new and kind of massive, so it's gonna take up a lot of space, but what can you do? And then over here on the way to the door, one more big table for computers and stationery and, you know, all that very uninteresting crap. Over here somewhere at the end of the dryer, on either side of it, we'll have a table for catching and stacking shirts. That's kind of a necessity. Over here somewhere where this big ass crate is where the badass new manual press is gonna go. I didn't want to give up having a manual press completely because I still want to be able to make videos involving manual stuff with you guys. So pretty awesome. We're still going to have one of those over here. And then somewhere nearby that thing will be 2 more tables, again, for stacking shirts on or whatever else has to happen. It's always good to have a table nearby the press just for putting shit on. Moving along to this side, like I mentioned in the last video, this door doesn't work. It's bolted shut. So this right here is technically a wall in my books that we can put stuff up against. So right here, there's gonna be 2 more tables sitting across from each other. This is gonna be our heat press station. We've got heat press number 1 that's gonna plop right here, which is a big, badass new machine that is on its way here right now. It's gonna be so sick. And then we'll do heat presses number 2 and number 3 across from it. And I guess I'll put some kind of wire molding across the floor to keep that all tucked away and clean. And then over here and over here, we've got 2 more brand new pieces of equipment on the way. These are also top secret, but man, gonna be so dope. Something brand new that we have never done on the channel before. So stoked for that. And then in this general, shit. In this area will be the air compressor. We need the air compressor to run the auto and a few other things in the shop. I haven't quite made my decision on which compressor it's going to be just yet, but I can tell you that it's 100% going to be a rotary screw compressor because number one, I film videos in here, so I definitely need something as quiet as I can get. And number two, for tool nerds like me, I've been working on bikes and all kinds of shit since I was 6 years old. So a rotary screw compressor is kind of one of those dream items you have on your list for your shop. So pretty pumped I'm gonna have one finally. And then to finish it off, this area over here will plop another big shelf rack thing and a table. This will become the ink mixing area. As you can tell by all of these buckets and boxes covering this place, I've got a lot of it and it needs somewhere to go. And this spot over here seems to be probably the furthest spot away from any of the blank clothing. So that should hopefully cut down on any mishaps and ink going where it shouldn't go. Shop layout 1.0 looks pretty tight, both figuratively and literally. Obviously, this is all tentative and things might change as we're moving stuff in and setting it up, but you guys will see that as it happens because I'm making a video on pretty much everything. So we'll get there when we get there. Now, some of you are probably wondering, how the hell did you make that whole animated blueprint thing throughout this video? That was kind of cool. Well, I made that in Apple Motion and I learned how to use it on Skillshare. Skillshare is an online learning community filled with thousands of killer classes to help you step up your creative game. Learning how to create motion graphics and effects is something that I've wanted to learn since day one of starting this channel because one, they're just really friggin' cool, and two, they can really help you tell a story as they did today. I'm a Final Cut Pro user, and its partner software for creating motion graphics is Apple Motion. So I took this beginner basics class right here on Apple Motion by James Rickards. This was my first project and attempt ever creating any sort of motion graphics, so bear with me here until I get good at that stuff, but it turned out pretty good for a first try. If you want to learn how to do that type of stuff or really anything else, all you have to do is click the link down in the description below and set yourself up with a free 1-month trial of Skillshare Premium. I use the crap out of Skillshare for learning this type of stuff, and you can bet that I'm going to be on there quite a bit more learning how to get this whole motion graphics thing dialed. Anyways, so go check that out, and thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video today. Well, I think I've got a pretty solid plan that I can move forward with now, but if any of you have any better ideas than I spit out here today, please drop them down in the comments below for me. Any help is appreciated. But I think I could start putting this plan into action now, so it's time to start putting a lot of this crap away, getting some of those tables and shelves and stuff all set up, and I think in the next video, we're gonna unveil and uncrate this big bastard right here. So make sure you do not miss that, because it's cool. But anyways, slap the shit out of that thumbs up button for me, and please, please share your favorite video, share the channel, share everything you can from here. We are getting so close to hitting that 100,000 subscriber mark. I want it so bad, you have no idea. I've been working hard on this channel for like 6 years, and I really want that stupid little silver play button plaque to hang on the wall to have something physical to show for it. I'd love to hit that number before the end of the year. I'm not super optimistic about it just by seeing the numbers and the way the channel grows. We might do it, we might not. But with your guys' help, we absolutely can make this happen. So please, let's rally together and let's put in the fucking work. As always, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one.